Hare Krishna everyone, welcome back to Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devidasi and we are reading Teachings of Lord Chaitanya by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I was just listening to such a beautiful class of Harishari Prabhu. He was, describing relationships in Krishna consciousness, and right now we are also reading portion where Lord Chaitanya is instructing Sanatana Goswami, and it reminded me of how there was this murti of Niranjan Maharaj. He gifted this murti to his disciple Ishanya Mataji, that how Lord Chaitanya embraces Sanatana Goswami, and it's such a interesting thing. Harishari Prabhu said that of all types of processes of yoga, only in Krishna consciousness there are relationships. And you can see how the Lord Chaitanya has such loving relationships with his devotees, and how Srila Prabhupada taught all of us to have close, loving relationships with devotees. And this is just the topic right now. So, chapter 16, Conclusion of Teachings to Sanatana Goswami. Persons who cultivate knowledge for liberation are of three kinds: those who simply desire liberation, those who are liberated already, even while in this material existence, and those who are actually self-realized. There are many persons in this world who desire liberation, and sometimes they engage in devotional service for this purpose. It is corroborated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.26 that those who actually desire liberation give up all kinds of demigod worship, and without envy concentrate their minds in the worship of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When such persons come in contact with a pure devotee, they engage in the devotional service of Kṛṣṇa and give up the idea of liberation. A verse in the Hari Bhakti Shuddhadaya states, Aho Mahatman Bahudosha Dushto Pyekena Bhatyesha Bhavo Gunena Satsangamakyena Sukhavahena Kritadyaino Yena Krisha Mumuksha. Quote, O great soul, although there are many flaws within this miserable life, there is yet one glory: the association of pure devotees. Cultivate such association. By it, our desire for liberation diminishes. Unquote. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.37, it is stated that man's fear is due to his material conception of life, and to his forgetting his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, he finds himself having only perverted memories. This occurs due to the spell of material energy. One who has sufficient intelligence will engage in full devotional service and regard the Supreme Lord as his spiritual master and worshipable Lord, worshipable God. The conclusion is that no one can attain a revolution in consciousness without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. When one is actually free from material contamination, he can fully engage himself in Krishna consciousness. These days, so many advertisements are there in terms of psychology, in terms of success courses or self-help courses that make a revolution in consciousness, buy this course, and you will never live the same again. In 10 days you will become successful. So, but here Prabhupada writes that no one can attain a revolution in consciousness without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. Hare Krishna. You can't avoid it. It's cheating, actually, to think that you can do that. So, in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.4, it is clearly said that one who engages in spiritual life to understand things as they are, but who lacks all intention of engaging in Krishna consciousness, simply achieves trouble for his undertaking. There is no substance to his life. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore it is the duty of every living entity to serve that Supreme Whole. Without such service, the living entity falls into material contamination. So there has to be intention of engaging in Krishna consciousness within spiritual life, if anybody is leading spiritual life. Lord Chaitanya concluded his teachings to Sanatana Goswami by pointing out that 6 kinds of Atmaramas, or transcendentalists, engage in some kind of devotional service to Krishna. In other words, at some time or another, all the transcendentalists ultimately come to understand the necessity of rendering devotional service to Krishna and become fully Krishna conscious. Even if one is very learned or extravagant, he can still engage in the devotional service of the Lord. The 6 kinds of transcendentalists are the neophyte transcendentalist, the absorbed transcendentalist, one who is situated in transcendence, one who desires liberation, one who is already liberated, and one who is engaged in activities in his constitutional position. All of these are Atmaramas. When a person becomes an Atmarama, or a great thinker in Krishna consciousness, he fully engages in devotional service. According to the grammatical rules, there are many kinds of Atmaramas, but one sense of the word is sufficient to represent the others. In the collective sense, all the Atmaramas are inclined to worship the Supreme Lord Krishna. The mystic who worships the Supersoul within himself is also an Atmarama. The Atmarama yogis are of 2 kinds, Sagarbha and Nigarbha. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.8, quote, "Some yogis meditate within their hearts on the localized Vishnu, who is 4-handed and who holds 4 symbols, conch, disc, mace, and lotus," unquote. The yogi who thinks of the 4-handed Vishnu becomes absorbed in devotional service, in devotional ecstasy, and shows the symptoms of that state. Sometimes he cries, and sometimes he feels separation from the Lord. In this way, he merges in transcendental bliss, resulting in his becoming entrapped like a fish. The Sagarbha and Nigarbha yogis can be further divided into 3 categories: the beginner, the advanced yogi, and he who has attained perfection. These yogis are described in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Those who are trying to ascend the path of mystic yoga are called Arurukshu yogis, beginners. In Arurukshu yoga, one practices various sitting postures and concentrates the mind. One ascends the path of yoga by means of meditation and detachment. And when one is no longer attached to working for sense gratification, he gradually becomes free. At that time, he attains a state of ecstasy called Yoga Rudha. If such a mystic yogi somehow or other comes in contact with a saintly person, he becomes a devotee of Kṛṣṇa. The word Urukrama has already been explained. It indicates the Supreme Lord. All the Atmaramas are engaged in devotional service to Urukrama. Therefore, engaging in devotional service, such transcendentalists are called Santas, Shantas, or pacified devotees. The word Atma, or self, is sometimes translated as mind. Sometimes mental speculators present philosophical theories in different ways, but when they come in contact with saintly persons engaged in devotional service, they also become devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.87.18 describes the 2 classes of yogis, Sagarbha and Nigarbha, as follows. Quote, "The yogis begin their practice of yoga by worshipping the abdomen, and they try to concentrate their attention on their intestines. Gradually, their meditation rises to the heart, and they concentrate the mind there. Then, they gradually direct their attention to the top of the head. One who can raise his meditation to that position is understood to have become perfect and to be no longer subject to birth and death. Even such yogis," unquote, "even such yogis render causeless devotional service to the Lord when they come in contact with pure devotees." So being in contact with pure devotees, so far we've read, is like the catalyst or the crucial point where no matter where you are in the spiritual path, be it yoga, be it somebody is concentrating on the Brahman to get liberation, whatever you do on the transcendental spiritual path, as soon as you come in contact with pure devotees, Kṛṣṇa consciousness is there, pure devotional service is there, and that is the ultimate perfection of all spiritual life and being a transcendentalist. The word Atma also refers to an endeavor. It means an endeavor. In every practice there is some endeavor, and the ultimate endeavor is the endeavor to reach the highest perfectional stage of devotional service. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.18, it is stated that one should try to attain the highest goal, which cannot be attained either in the higher or lower planetary systems. The idea is that material happiness and misery are automatically available in all planetary systems in the course of time. But the highest achievement, devotional service, cannot be attained anywhere without endeavor. Therefore, in the Brihannaradya Purana, it is said that one who is serious about understanding the highest perfectional stage of devotional service can become successful simply by his endeavor. One cannot attain the highest perfectional stage of devotional service without personal endeavor. As Kṛṣṇa states in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamupayantite. Quote, to those who are constantly rendering devotional service to me with love, I, who am situated in everyone's heart, give the intelligence by which they can make undeterred progress in devotional activities. Unquote. The word Atma also means dritti, patience and perseverance. By patience and perseverance, one can achieve the highest stage of devotional service. As far as the word Muni is concerned, there are additional meanings. The word also refers to a bird and a large black bee. Another meaning of the word Nirgranta is a foolish person. Thus, even birds, bees, and foolish people engage in the service of the Supreme Lord when they are favored by the pure devotee. So again, this element, pure devotee element, these personalities, pure devotees, they engage everybody, even foolish people. So we have a chance. Hare Krishna. Indeed, it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.21.14 that the birds in Vrindavan are devoted to the service of the Supreme Lord. It is also stated in the Bhagavatam 10.15.6 that the black bees in Vrindavan always follow Krishna and Balaram. In that verse, Shri Krishna describes to Balaram the devotional service the bees were rendering unto him, Lord Balaram. Ete linastavayasho kilaloka tirtham gayanta adi purushano patham bhajante prayo ami munigana bhavadiya mukhya Godam vane pina jahatyana ghatma daivam. Quote, O supremely virtuous one, O original personality of Godhead, just see how these bees are following you, glorifying your transcendental fame, and thus worshipping you. Actually, these bees are not as they appear. They are great sages who are taking this opportunity to worship the Supreme Soul. Although you are not knowable by ordinary persons, they know you, and they are following and glorifying you. Although you are not knowable by ordinary persons, they know you, and they are following and glorifying you. Unquote. Jai. We're going to stop here for today. Tomorrow we shall continue with the next verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna describes the similar reception to Balaram by the peacocks and the cuckoos of Vrindavan. Hare Krishna. Jai, thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website shravanamdiaries.com. Read these books along with us and share them with your friends. And we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.